And this is
Hi.
Pretty Minds, and I am your host, Lynn B, and my co-host is,
Edward Bess. How are you doing, Mary Beth?
and
I'm
we
good.
have today we have Mary Beth Robinson on. Thank you so much, Mary Beth, for being on the show. Mary Beth's going to do 2 episodes with us today because she's so interesting, and she pinpoints people's superpowers. So, Mary Beth, there's where we're going to start. What is a superpower?
Um, First of all, thank you for having me on. I
You're
know
quite
we've had some
welcome.
issues, which were all my fault, so thank you for hanging in there with me. Um, so a superpower is something that we're great at, like naturally great at, that we love to do, and that makes a difference to ourselves and other people. So, and when people hear superpowers, we kind of hear that in business speak. And it's so often like, "Oh, I'm an organized person. That's one of my superpowers." That's not what I'm talking about. And you can be a super organized person, and that could be your superpower. But just because you're good at something doesn't make it your superpower, according to me.
Okay.
So a superpower is like, let's say somebody is an incredible listener. And then when they listen to somebody, the person literally says things that they didn't even know that they had that were in themselves. And that listener brings it out. And by doing that, somebody actually hears themselves. So it's not a profession and it's not a tool. It's our deep, I think, divine purpose in life. And when we use it and when we embrace it, amazing things happen.
Mm.
Okay.
I, you
Well,
know, I,
that's
I'm wrapping my head around this, and
yeah, I'm
I and
trying
I
to me too.
I love what you're
Well,
saying, and
yeah,
because you, I think what it is when you say superpowers, I think we just naturally think
Superman. No.
whatever you. No, 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 no. We just think whatever you think you're the best at.
yeah,
Like you just immediately go to that one thing, like, oh, I do this, and that's my superpower. But it's obviously way deeper and way more than that, and that's really incredible, and that's why I'm incredibly excited to have you on today because I
So that
can
we
never
can
get enough of this. This is
oh,
excellent information.
so we can understand,
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
like so,
exactly. And it's hard to understand. There are two things here. One is it can be so hard to understand because we do things so naturally, we don't even think about them. Other people see that in us. Like, I can be in a store and somebody will say, "Oh, you must be a teacher." And I'm like, I'm not a teacher." Like, but but I guess I have that energy. You know what I mean? Like, as somebody who is a teacher, I'm not a classic teacher, like, I don't teach in a classroom, but I feel like that's really my essence, is to learn and share with people. So we discount it because 1, it's natural to us, and 2, it's easy. And the other thing is, so Lynn, with you, I've already tuned in with you, and
uh-oh.
right,
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're going
and
there.
And and if you the real magic happens. What we understand it more when we see somebody get their superpower and we understand it. So, Lynn, if at some point you would like for me to talk about that, I certainly can. I think when I go over it in general terms, it's not as powerful as seeing how it is in person. So, if either of you would like, and I am so sorry. I'm so nervous, and I did not even catch your
Why would you
name.
be nervous?
You are you nervous?
I
I mean,
always
her
get
purple hair is not scary. It just look at her head like an Easter egg. That's all you gotta do.
Do you know this is the God's honest truth, Mary
Yeah.
Beth? Every day of the week, no matter where I go,
uh-huh.
and I mean no matter where I go, Men, women, teenagers, could be boys, could be girls, will stop me and say, I love your hair. And then I go into this, and then they want to know, where do you go? How do you? I do it myself. You do it yourself. So then I go through this whole big spiel.
Easter egg.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, if I don't get L'Oreal as a sponsor,
Right.
then I'm doing something wrong.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And
I
I
love
am going to
that.
go after them because I started thinking maybe I should ask some of these people if I can film them asking this so that
No
I can
kidding.
send it in a press kit,
I
But
think that's a great idea.
I go. It always happens. I was on the plane yesterday, 3 people coming in right in a row were like, I love your hair. How do you
Yeah,
do
but
that?
I have a very very good feeling that that's not your superpower.
No, that's not my
Right,
superpower.
right. It's not. But I have to say that because of your superpower and because of your energy, people are so much more open to engage with you. So, that's you could have the same fabulous hair and nobody would say anything. It's not just your hair, it's your energy and that you so love to engage with people.
Mm.
Yes. So that's my superpower, that I'm a
Well,
blabbermouth. No. So my superpower is that I love to engage with people.
actually,
Mary Beth
it's
was like, I wasn't going to put it that way, but
I wasn't. No, I actually wasn't. You have a really cool superpower. So, do you mind if we talk about it?
Oh, please
Sure.
do.
Oh, yes.
Oh, please
Oh, he's
Okay.
do.
dying. He's dying. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So often people love like this is not exactly you. We'll get to you in a second. Often people love to work one-on-one with people. And that is their bread and butter, and they love it. They love seeing the light come on in people and have them realize who they are and having that great connection. The interesting thing with you, Lynn, is that you have a more everyone has kind of a global idea. Like, I would love for people to be connected with love or to, something like that. But you are what I have discovered last night as I was tuning in with you. You're an orchestra director, not like in a regular orchestra, so don't be concerned about that. But I was in the orchestra, and, when you have a full orchestra, which is all the band instruments and all the orchestra instruments, you have to, as a conductor, put it all together. You have to know about the bass
Ooh.
and the timpani and the
Ooh.
the piccolo and all of that stuff.
She's got you. She's got you,
So
man.
so it's interesting because I don't when before I do a podcast, I try to know really nothing about the people who I will be
Okay.
speaking with, because that way my brain doesn't get in the way and I
Mm.
can just let the information flow through. So, you have this global idea of people awakening and, like, for lack of we'll just stick with the music metaphor, but, like, singing in their own voices. But you're not gonna work with one person or another person, and you can, of course, work with individual people, but you wanna work with everybody. Like, you wanna be
And I'm
like
smacking your ass right now. I
No,
mean, that
this
is
is,
so dead on.
I
is
know.
it okay,
No, that's what I'm
okay.
saying. Like,
Yes.
that's so dead on.
Wait, let her finish.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Keep
I could
going.
talk for days, but
Oh, please
you
do.
are just about you, Lynn. But, so it's so interesting because and if I look, like, way up, that's just because 'cause I'm tuning in. I don't, like,
Yeah.
I don't have any tools or anything that I look at, so sometimes I'm just like, Okay, let me let this come to me.
I
So,
thought I seen a magic 8 ball to the left of me. I guess no.
right,
Okay.
it's saying orchestra director. Right, right.
That's my
Um,
orchestra over there.
right. So so you have this vision and this talent for not only having the idea of people understanding the deeper concepts in life and being able to embody them and use them and live them, but yours is has a way different flavor for it because you are like, if we could just get enough people, like enough where this symphony starts, then other people would join. And your whole thing is how we can unite to make something possible that was not possible on our own. So that is I can just tell your soul is like, why couldn't we make it work? Why couldn't we come together? Why couldn't we all do this? So it's, I find that a lot of more spiritually minded people are really about that one-on-one work.
Mhm.
You are more about, okay, let's spread this word, let's get this energy out. No wonder lots of people respond to you because you have this, like, big satellite dish where you're just kind of broadcasting, "Hi, I am safe. I'm a great person to connect with. Oh, come one, come all." And, so I'm not surprised that people of all ages and all backgrounds talk to you because you really are about that whole thing of everybody has their own voice, everybody has their own instrument, but let's see what happens when we all use that and let's create something.
Are you freaked out or what?
That no, like that is so interesting because it's true. I'm seeing what you're saying,
Mhm.
and it really does. It really does resonate who I am. I
Yeah.
wasn't always that person, but it does resonate who I am and probably have been for the past 50
Well,
years,
I think that
you know?
develops in time. It's who you are, but over time you develop those skills, and
Yeah,
you start to
Yeah.
put it out there a little bit better.
yeah.
Exactly, and that's such an interesting point because I met somebody yesterday who had a near-death experience, and he was telling me
Mm.
about it, and he said, "That totally changed me," and I'm like, "It didn't change you. It just brought out it took something like that to bring it out in you." So,
Hmm.
and this is just me. This is not like I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is the truth." But how I see it is we are all born as who we are, and we
Mhm.
come in with that purpose, and for some reason, we often think I should be somebody else, and we usually pick the opposite of who we are. Like, for me, I can tune in, I can read people's energy. I don't do it unless I have permission, and Lynn, you and I had talked about me doing this on the show, that's why I did this,
Right.
tuning in with you last night. But, that's super easy for me. That's how I think, that's how my brain works, that's what I'm interested in, that's my thing. But when I was young, I was all about, I wanna be perfect and responsible and have everything look all together. And I will tell you, that is not me at all. Like, I can look like I'm together, but my nickname in high school was Mess. Literally, everyone called me that.
Hairy
So
mess.
right, exactly. I ran for student council vice president, and it was Mess for VP. I mean, everyone called me that. So, it was
That's a
not
great campaign slogan
right,
right
I
there.
know, and
That's a mess.
all my signs were just like I just threw paint at them, so it was like this big mess. But I thought that the way that I needed to be was always very rational, always very controlled, having it all together, which is completely not my nature. I'm
Mhm.
spontaneous, silly, funny, creative, all out there. But we often think we should be the opposite of who we are. And so I'm not so I'm never surprised when people say, I've learned to be this way. And I would just say, you finally let yourself be this way. Like
Okay.
you really embraced who you are, what your purpose is, why you're here, what you love, because that's a process that we all have to go through is to say, gosh, who am I? And am I ready to and it sounds funny, but am I ready to really tell the truth about who I am? Not that we've been
Right.
lying, like nobody sets out to lie about who they are, but
Right,
we just
right.
think it's not safe and I'm not okay.
So what is your superpower?
My superpower is seeing other people's superpowers.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I
That's a pretty damn good superpower. I mean, right
yeah,
there, you kind of just like hit a home run and you drop the bat and walk away. I mean, because if you could do that, then what does anything else matter?
I and how did
People
you
are like,
get
I know how to cook chicken. Yeah, but I know your superpower. So like that's it.
right.
You know.
how did you get started doing this?
It was a long process. So I'm 53 right now,
Oh
and
my God, you're old.
I know,
Old.
right?
I'm 55. I
Are you really?
can say that.
You don't look 55.
You don't look
He's
53.
not.
Thank you.
Oh, I am 55.
But I always knew I could tune in. I was raised in a really great kind of small town in Oklahoma. But I say really great because
Norman?
pardon me?
Norman?
Oh, no, Norman's too big. I'm from Ponca
Oh,
City, Oklahoma. Right,
okay.
Okay.
up near the Kansas border. 2 hours away from Oklahoma City, 2 hours away from Tulsa.
I've
But
been to Oklahoma.
oh, yeah, you know
You
what?
should sing the song. Oh,
I
Oklahoma.
know, I know. And every time I meet someone from Oklahoma, I'm like, "Hi," and my husband's like, "Oh, I'll be waiting in the car."
No,
But anyway
my wife's family on her dad's side is from Oklahoma.
oh, really?
So
Where in
they had like
Oklahoma?
the Jackson family reunion, and
Yes.
we flew out there for one of them, and it was awesome. We had a great time. It
You
was just
know,
awesome.
I'll tell you, Oklahomans are so nice. Like,
Yeah.
you will never meet nicer people.
Hey, listen, if you travel around this country, they're all really nice. I mean,
that is
it's
true.
just you can
That
never
is true.
don't listen to the news.
Oh,
Go meet people and you will realize that they're
In
all
a lot of different
awesome.
states, yeah.
it's so true.
All
Like,
awesome.
I got off the plane in, Toronto in
Hmm.
Canada one time,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Hi, I'm not from here. Can someone help me get to my hotel?" They're like, "I'll help you exchange your money. You get on this train, then you get on this bus, and then they were so fabulous. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
That's
so
great.
so I grew up with, kind of a spiritually minded grandmother, and she would talk to me about really cool things, but still I was born in 1970, and, that wasn't really the thing that people were talking about. So I kind of was on my own. And so it took years and years, and honestly, it was really frustrating because I'm like, I've got this thing that I'm always wanting to do. It's always in me. It's always wanting to express itself, but I don't know how to do it. And at the same time, I'm wrestling with I got to look the part. I've got to look responsible and practical and all that stuff. And not realizing that nobody cares about that. They just want me. So
Well, it
so
creates
it
a perception.
yeah, yeah, and then I was very invested in it. It took me a while to really unwrap that. So, I started to just kind of do intuitive readings for friends and and I was just really good at it, and they were like, "That's amazing," and then the more I practiced, I mean, it was kind of like jumping off the high dive and hoping there's water in the pool when you get down there, like, I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't but after doing that for, like, 20 years, now I'm like, "I got it. I got it." There are some people I can't read on occasion. That doesn't happen very often. There's some people I'm not supposed to read, which doesn't happen very often. But,
And how do people react, like, when they say, "Can you pinpoint my superpower?" And you say, "No, I can't read you." Like,
you
how
know,
how
it
do people just
it's very rare. It's very rare.
okay,
Really, the times that I have gotten the message not to read somebody is when I might see someone on TV or something, and I'm like, "I wonder what they're like," and then I get this immediate thing that says, "Do not connect with this person." So,
okay.
it's never happened to someone who has actually asked me to do a reading. It's happened with people that I don't know that I just thought, "Oh, let me just tune in with their energy a little and see what they're like," and it's not very often, but sometimes and one of the messages I got one time was, "This guy is great, but the people that he's involved with are not great, and you don't wanna tune in with any of that. So,
Okay, yeah,
just don't do it." And I
right.
know enough to say, "Okay."
Yeah.
Oh, by the
Got it.
way, Mary Beth, you do have full permission to read me.
No,
Okay,
she's
and
gonna do you on the next show.
Oh,
We
oh,
have
am
2
I?
shows.
Okay, got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the
Because
next
I
show
already
gonna do
you
me.
can you can
She,
you
she
can
never knows how to phrase things. Sounds like a
it's
lot of
not
things
that
you
kinda
do.
show.
I mean, that's a whole different segment.
Yeah, really. Don't read me on that.
Right.
So
Okay.
so you do like you work globally. So,
I do.
are people coming to you like setting up appointments and
Yeah.
you do a lot of Zoom and do you do
Actually, I don't do Zoom,
you
becau
don't.
I don't.
Is that why you were nervous today?
No, I just get nervous, and really, I don't know if it's nervous so much as it is I'm on, and this is being recorded, and it's not just between the 3 of us, and so I wanna make sure that I've got the energy. It takes a lot of energy to
It
do what I
does.
do.
It
So
Okay.
does.
yeah,
Oh my
so,
God, it
not
does.
only am I thinking about you 2, but I'm thinking about how is the audience perceiving this? What are the things that I need to say? So I've got, like, 18
My
balls in the
God, she's me. Oh, I met my twin.
So
Oh my
you
God.
so you go around all
I
over.
I don't,
Why would you?
because the less I know about people, the better. Like, with my clients, I just say, "Don't tell me anything. Don't say anything." And, I'm like, "I just need a first name." On occasion, I'll email them after they've signed up for a session, and I'll say, "I've got this paragraph written. Tell me if I'm on the right track." If it's, Jim from Brussels, Belgium, like, I may be like, "Okay, let me just make sure I've got the right person." So, and then they'll say, "Yep, that's me." And I'm like, "Okay, great." Then that message just flows. What I do is I do a write-up for people.
Okay.
I write things out so they can kind of look at it and say, "Oh, okay, got it." Because it is different. Like, Lynn, did you expect when I was talking about your superpower that I would have said what I said?
No.
No. Right. It's not
Do
it's
I
not
agree with you? Yes.
right,
But
exactly.
but for you to tell me that was my superpower? No, I had no idea that's what you were gonna say to me. No.
Right, exactly. It's not ever a surprise, like, as far as, like, that's out of left field. It's accurate, and people are like, "Oh, I had not ever really thought about" that aspect of it. So when I do a write up, first of all, people love to have something in writing that they can go back to. And so it kind of sets the stage that people are like, okay, I've let that sink in. Now I'm ready to really talk about it. And then we get on
Mm.
a conference call where I record it for them and we
Okay.
talk about it. And we just kind of go back and forth and I get more information and we get more specific. But sometimes in like an hour call, it's a little much to take it all in. Now, Lynn, I know that you can do that. Like, you can take that in and we can have a discussion about it. But, some people are like, "Let me like, you just blew my mind.
Right.
Gonna need a little bit of time." Because people are usually expecting that a superpower is their profession or it's something very basic, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, that's me." They're not expecting me to, like, reach in, grab your soul, and go, "Here it is. Here it is in all its amazingness." I couldn't even Lynn, if I had, like, looked you up and read everything you've ever written and watched every podcast you've ever done, I never would have come up with that, right? Like,
Okay.
it's not I can't imagine doing research because if I
No,
get
there's nothing out there that would on her definitely
yeah,
that would pinpoint that in any extent.
Yeah,
And
not that.
and what's out
Yeah,
there
no,
for
not
me is
that.
all music. So
Yeah, so no,
no,
okay,
no.
yeah,
not a million
right.
years.
Yeah.
So I can't, some people are like, "Oh, you must have really read a lot of stuff that I wrote," and I'm like, "Oh, no," because why would I do that if I could just, you know, flip my brain in the way it thinks and have the information that's much more in depth and much more powerful than just kind of a summary of what you've put out there. So
Okay.
that's why I don't like to do Zoom because I don't like to assume anything. I don't like to I don't wanna have any other input other than what I'm getting into in the
Yeah,
write.
Then what's in
Yeah,
your mind?
just pure
exactly. Right. So
pure
if
feeling.
yeah, so if
And
Jim
are there
from
people sometimes that don't agree with you that when you tell them they're like, "Oh, no, that's not me?"
I have had 2 people in 20 years. One was a gentleman, and I think I told one of his superpower was that he was incredibly strong, like, not only physically, but just emotionally, mental health-wise, spiritually, he was so strong, and it was hard for him to get that, and he argued with me, and I'm like, "It's okay."
Mm.
It's okay.
Right, right.
But
Yes.
I didn't take it personally, and because I just knew, I'm like, for some reason, it's a problem to hear it at the moment. I think he probably and I told him this, I said, "You need a lot of support. Yes, you're strong, but you
I
don't need
think
to
that's
be
common
alone."
in a lot of things. I mean, you hear something you don't want to hear, what no, in whatever regard,
Yeah.
people
Right,
tend to just immediately go no
right,
Yeah.
until it
right.
absorbs and they go, oh, maybe you're right.
Exactly, and I think what he was hearing is that you're alone and you have to do this all yourself, which is not what I was saying. So I made that clear, and then there was another woman who, I don't know, she was just kind of nasty, and she was just
It was kind of nasty.
yeah, I was just surprised, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting,"
She was
but
nasty to you.
she was, and honestly, I really can't remember so much
I
what she
mean, I gotta
said.
admit, you are kind of threatening.
Right?
I mean,
I know.
you scare me a little bit.
Yeah,
But
we do have the cross on the side just in case.
we may have to hug it out. But it's
You
that's
know,
last
I
resort.
it is interesting because when somebody does ask for a reading and they sign up and they get their time to have a conversation with me, it is kind of vulnerable. It is, like and so first of all, I never have anything negative to say about anybody. Like, that's just not what this is about. I don't get
Mhm,
that information.
mhm.
And, what I may say is, I know that this was hard at this point in your life. I don't get any specifics. I just may be like, gosh, when you were 14 or around there, I know that there were some very, things that were pretty damaging to you. And, and it give them kind of a perspective on that. So
Okay.
people can get people can feel vulnerable, and I do respect that because, it's always a little bit, like, unnerving to have someone look right inside you, and it's honoring, but it can also be vulnerable.
If
So,
you've never done any type of therapy,
yeah.
then you're not used to someone saying something to you that you've never
Right.
heard before. Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't, and someone says something that's real,
Yeah.
and you're like, what?
Right.
But
It's
if you go
almost
to therapy, you've heard stuff like that before, and you can
Right.
kind of pseudo identify or agree or whatnot.
and it's
Yeah, or at least consider it. Right.
Yeah.
In a safe place.
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
She's got a 99-gallon water jug.
I do.
That, it's a keg party at her house.
It's actually just 25 ounces. I usually have 33-ounce
Oh my
things.
god, I
Just
got
looks
one that's
big.
like, it looks like a kerosene, like a thing.
I mean,
And it has all the levels, like you haven't drank enough. Oh, you're
Oh, I
almost
see that,
there.
yeah.
Oh my
right.
god, you're still a lightweight. Oh my god, you're gonna piss your pants. Oh, yeah.
I know, and I should drink like 3 of these a day, but
I know.
especially doing this work, I've really gotta keep hydrated and keep the electrolytes because I use my brain a little bit differently than just, like, everyday stuff, so I gotta take care of myself.
You gotta take care.
Honestly,
You
no
really
matter what you do, you gotta do it. And it's just one of those things that you have to really put your mind to,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Like you have to like when I was on the road touring musically, it's like you always had to be like, "Where's the water? Where's the water?" And then I would get these
yeah, you always
electrolyte
have to
packs,
hydrate.
and I would,
Yeah.
compensate because you're so focused and everything's like 100 miles an hour that you forget to drink water,
Mhm.
and then it comes time to perform, and your fingers are cramping up, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Right, right. That's not gonna work.
But for anybody, I mean,
Yeah,
you consciously have to do it.
yeah. I agree, and, I also think now what is your name again?
Edward.
Edward, really? That's my
Mhm.
husband's name.
No way! No wonder why I
I
wanted to
love
hug you.
Edwards. But you, like, when we're doing our superpower, and Edward, I'm gonna, like, address, like, when you're playing music,
Mhm.
you pour a lot of yourself out. You also, like, you know, especially when you're really in the zone,
Mhm.
but you connect with the people that you're playing for a
Oh,
lot.
but you shouldn't do his superpower now. We'll do it on the next show.
Okay, okay, but
She's doing a musical one.
Oh,
when we are using our superpowers, when anybody is, like Lynn, when you are thinking, okay, when you're thinking globally, that's a big thing, and it can be very draining,
oh,
and
yes.
and it's really great. It's also energizing, but at the same time, we're using our neurological energy very differently. And, we are taking in information, and then we're doing our special thing with it and sending it out. And, it is incredibly important that we take care of ourselves and that we get rest because, if we don't, we're not able to use our superpower like we really want to. And
Okay.
it's easy to get burned out
Mhm.
and, you know
Yeah.
and I think, for me with the "let me be responsible" thing, I was like, "I've got my to-do list, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this," and the more I've pared that down, like, before the podcast, I laid in bed for 30 minutes, and I just relaxed, and I just made sure that I had my inner that I was just really present and grounded, and that I let go of everything. So I
Okay.
will have energy to do this. So I rest a lot more than I used to, and I'm my readings are or my sessions with people are much more powerful because I spend more time resting and less time driving myself to go
I'll
do.
tell you what, I agree with that
Yes.
100% because I get so drained
Mhm.
that I get to the point where I don't want to leave my room or see anybody or talk to anybody for
Right,
days
right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I
Mhm.
was so overdosed on 20,000 people a night, people up, autographs, this, that, traveling.
It takes so much out of
It
you.
sucks the life. And then the stage show, which is your highlight,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
which is what you look forward to,
Right.
is a small part of it.
Right.
It's such a small part of it.
Yeah,
And
you're not just hanging out and then you just show up on stage. Right.
yeah,
Right,
if I
right.
was Aerosmith, yes,
Yeah.
but I agree with you because I know what the feeling is like to have just no energy
Yeah.
mentally, not physically, but
Yeah.
mentally. Like you
Mhm.
just
Right.
leave me
Ex
alone. I
Mhm.
want to look at my bird and my fish and my dog, and that's
Right,
it.
That's it.
and that's it. Exactly, and, because when I talk about superpowers, I'm really talking about, like, being in that amazing zone where we are things may come out of our mouths that we're like, "Wow, that was amazing. That was not really from me," like,
Right.
that was amazing, and, Lynn, with your work about with what people can do and what's possible, you're always thinking. You're not thinking micro, you're thinking macro.
I do. I
Yeah,
really
and
you are
it's a
so
lot.
right. I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
I
and it's a
really
lot,
honestly do.
and so
I'm like a couple of years ahead of myself in my
yeah,
mind.
exactly, and while that is amazing, it takes it takes some stamina. It takes
It
some
does.
neurological stamina. So, so with superpowers, if we can imagine, gosh, my superpower is so powerful that maybe as far as let's just say, as far as work goes, a day, maybe my work day is 3 hours a day,
Okay.
you know, and I'm really working with this because I've so programmed to be like responsible, whatever that is,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
my kind of weird bastardized version of what responsible is. And, that's to drive myself, and there are all sorts of reasons for that, but, it's not healthy and it's not good for my superpower. People don't care if I have, like, house is immaculate. They care if I can see their essence and explain it pristinely in a way that helps them see it and experience it. That's
Mm.
what people want. They don't care about my house. I do, but
But
it
they
doesn't
don't.
but they don't. Like,
It's true.
as long as I have a clear space, I'm good to go. It doesn't have to be, you know, I don't have to be like in the Biltmore,
Right. Right.
No.
the bit yeah, to do my thing. So, but when we're doing our superpower, it's like turning on a fire hose. It's like, wow, that is so powerful. And then
Mhm.
it's also time to kind of bring it down and just be. And because our whole idea, especially as Americans, is do, cram it all in, do it, let's get done. And especially people my age, we grew up with the Gordon Gekko Wall Street kind of,
Oh God, yeah.
right?
Oh my God.
Right. And
And
it,
I lived that life back in the 90s.
oh yeah, and
In New
I
York
thought that's the
City.
way it should be. And for
Oh
people who have
yeah.
not seen Wall Street with Michael
Oh
Douglas,
my God, it was awesome.
oh, yeah, and he was like, so he was this executive hard driving, and every moment was
Oh,
filled with, like, acquisition and takeovers, and, he's on
Mhm.
a
oh,
meeting, and he's on a
really?
treadmill in his office, getting his
I
exercise in.
know.
But that's what we think, and when we're really in the zone, and we're really being powerful, it's like compressing all those, like, 16 hours that we might be working in a day down to 2 or 3. We
Really?
don't have to go be, like, on all the time. Some people, that's their natural pace, and if that is their natural pace, that's perfect for them,
And that's what it should be.
right?
It
That's what
freaks
it
me
should
out
be.
when people are at that natural pace because it's so, man, it takes so much energy.
Does.
Right,
I mean,
right,
just to do what I did took a lot of energy, but there's people that are like that, like morning, noon, and night. You're like,
24/7.
oh my,
Yeah.
right, right,
the
and,
energy.
and I know, like, I'm kind of an introvert. I love people, but I'm like, "Okay, I've had," like, I'm up I my my kiddo, I would say, "I'm at max cap," and they would know, "You're at max capacity, got it." Like, I'm like, I have
Absolutely.
had so much input that I literally I have to go lay down. But I've learned that over the years, and I think with superpowers, it's important to realize you're really turning on the fire hose, you're in the zone. Don't expect for that to happen all day, every day. Find your pace, find what works for you. Do what you need to do what you love to do, and then turn it off and get some rest.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Mary Beth, we're gonna
Mhm.
end this session.
Okay,
We're gonna give you a few minutes to recoup,
okay.
and then we're gonna come back.
Re-energize. I can't wait to hear all this.
But I'm gonna end saying, thank you for being on this session. And it was absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait to start the next one. And for all of our listeners out there, this is funnyminds.com. Don't forget, we are on Spotify, YouTube, and every major platform that isn't video. And if you go to our website, funnyminds.com, you will find that we have a store with crazy little things that you can buy. But most importantly, we have two organizations that we're very proud to be associated with. And that's Women's Breast Cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And there's a big purple button. So if you're feeling generous and you could hit that purple button and donate to those two organizations would be wonderful. And I would like to thank Mary Beth, I'm sorry, for
That's all right.
being on the show this session. And we will see you in another 15 minutes or so. And then
Okay,
we're
sounds
going to hear about this one.
right.
Okay, we'll see you, Mary Beth, in about 15 minutes, hon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.